Welcome to our lecture on the classifications of the cholinergic agonist. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the classes of the cholinergic agonist, their examples, and the properties of the individual cholinergic agonist, particularly the direct acting agonist. At the end of this lecture, students must be able to describe the classifications of cholinergic agonist, their characteristics, and examples. This diagram shows the classifications of the cholinergic agonist. So the cholinergic agonists are also known as the cholinereceptor stimulants because again, they act as an agonist or they activate the cholinereceptor or the cholinergic receptor. So there are two major classifications of the cholinergic agonist. We have the direct acting and the indirect acting. And of course, the other name of this direct acting is receptor agonist. So again, we have two cholinergic receptors. It can be muscarinic or nicotinic. So the direct acting cholinergic agonist can either be muscarinic agonist or nicotinic agonist. We also have the indirect acting cholinergic agonist. So these are also known as ACHE inhibitors or acetylcholinesterase inhibitors. And these drugs can either be reversible or irreversible. So basically, when, for example, it is irreversible, this refers to the binding of the enzyme, rather of the drug to the enzyme. So when you say irreversible acetylcholinesterase inhibitor, the binding of the drug to the enzyme is very strong and the binding is covalent in nature. When we say reversible, the binding will only take place for a short time so that the enzyme acetylcholinesterase will be reactivated after some time. For the direct acting cholinergic agonist, of course, this can be classified as either plant alkaloid or choline esters. What do we mean by directly acting cholinergic agonist? So these drugs bind to cholinergic receptors and mimic the action of acetylcholine. Hence, they are also called as directly acting parasympathomimetics. Examples of this are carbachol, betanicol, pilocarpine, and acetylcholine. Diagram shows the MOA of our direct-acting parasympathomimetic or cholinergic agonist. The figure shows our nerve terminal and our effector here with the presence of the receptors. And in the nerve terminal, we have here the presence of the acetylcholine in the synaptic vesicle. The D here refers to our cholinergic drug. So the cholinergic agonists resemble acetylcholine and act directly on the receptor. So this is our receptor and this is our drug. As you can see here, the drug, the cholinergic drug, directly acting, acts directly on our receptor that are present on the effector organ. About the indirectly acting cholinergic agonist. These drugs do not have any affinity towards cholinergic receptors, but they act on acetylcholinesterase enzyme and inhibit metabolism of acetylcholine, increasing its levels at the synaptic cleft. Hence, these drugs can also be called as acetylcholinesterase inhibitors or ACHE inhibitors. This diagram shows the MOA of our indirect acting parasympathomimetic or the cholinesterase inhibitor drug or the ACHE inhibitor. So again, this is our axon terminal and this is our effector organ. And we have here the presence of the receptors that are again present on our effector organ. And we have here the enzymes that are present in the synaptic cleft, the ACHE or the acetylcholinesterase. What the drug will do, as represented here, is that these inhibitors will inactivate the enzyme acetylcholinesterase, thus permitting acetylcholine to react to the receptor. So as you can see here, the acetylcholine will be able to bound to the receptors because the enzymes that breaks it down will be inhibited or inactivated. This diagram shows the classifications of the cholinergic agonists, cholinomimetic or parasympathomimetic drugs, and their examples. So we have here our first classification are the direct acting ones, and the second classification are the indirectly acting cholinergic agonists. So this direct acting cholinergic agonists can be classified into two. We have the cholinergic esters and the alkaloids. Examples of the choline esters are acetylcholine, methacholine, carbachol, and betanicol. For the plant alkaloids, examples of this are, of course, muscarine, pilocarpine, and arcoline. For the ACHA inhibitors, examples of this, now we have two major classifications, the reversible and the irreversible. So under the reversible, now under the family of drugs known as carbamates, now we have here some examples are physostigmine, neostigmine, and pyridostigmine. For the irreversible ones, so we also have here under carbamates, the carbaryl and propoxur, so they are classified as insecticides. For the organophosphates, this is also an example of irreversible ACHA inhibitor. Examples of this are the insecticides, malathion, and thiazinon. Under this, we also have the nerve gases for chemical warfare, sarin, soman, and tabun. This is another diagram now showing the classification of the cholinergic drugs, particularly the cholinergic agonist. And in this diagram, we classify one of the authors now classify the cholinergic agonist into direct acting, and of course we have the indirect acting. And of course in the direct acting we have the esters of choline or the choline esters. We have also the plant alkaloids. And under the indirect acting, of course, these are also known as the ACHE inhibitors or the anticholinesterase agents. So these are also classified into reversible and irreversible. So the red ones here are examples of the irreversible ones, and we also have here the reversible examples. So under this, now we enumerated the different reversible anticholinesterase agents according to its actions and their indications. So for example, the neostigmine, pyridostigmine, and edrophonium, they are mainly used for their nicotinic actions and additional direct agonistic action. So basically, now they have actions on the nicotinic receptors. For the physostigmine, it is usually indicated for the eye, and it also crosses the blood-brain barrier. For these agents, it is indicated for the treatment, for example, of Alzheimer's disease. Because of course acetylcholine is very important for its effect on the memory as well as in the CNS stimulation. That is why it can be used now for Alzheimer's disease. For the irreversible ones, of course, we have here the examples, the insecticides, malathion and parathion, and these are under the organophosphates. For the carbamates, we also have the carbaryl, DDT, andrine, and the bigone. Now again, the examples of our directly acting cholinergic agents, we have the acetylcholine, methacholine, carbachol, and betanicol. So these agents act directly as an agonist on the acetylcholine receptors. But on which receptor do they act? Would they act on the muscarinic or the nicotinic receptors? So except for the carbachol, the other two drugs such as the methacholine and the betanicol are considered to be more selective for the muscarinic receptors and can be considered as a muscarinic agonist. So this selectivity towards the muscarinic receptor can be produced by few structural changes to the acetylcholine. So let's now compare the structures of these drugs with acetylcholine. Let's start with the structure of the acetylcholine. So acetylcholine is both a muscarinic and nicotinic agonist, meaning that it acts now on both the receptors, both the cholinergic receptors, muscarinic and nicotinic. Of course, acetylcholine is an endogenous mediator, meaning that it is produced within the body, and it contains two structural moieties or constituent. We have here the acetyl group and the choline group, making up the acetylcholine molecule. Of course, acetylcholine, after being released into the synaptic cleft, binds to the cholinergic receptors, but it is rapidly cleaved as choline and acetate by, of course, the enzyme acetylcholine esterases. You have to take note that there are two types of cholinesterases. Of course, we already know the acetylcholinesterases, also known as the true cholinesterase. So this is considered to be specific, located at all cholinergic neurons, ganglia, RBC, as well as the, of course, the neuromuscular junction, and serve to inactivate acetylcholine instantaneously. Another is the non-specific one, the butyryl cholinesterases or the pseudocholinesterase, and this is present in the plasma, liver, and the glial cells, and probably serve to metabolize the ingested esters. The major enzyme that inactivates acetylcholine is the ACHE or the acetylcholinesterase. Aside from that, in terms of the location of this particular enzyme, so they can also be differentiated because the ACHE is not seen in the serum, while the pseudocholinesterase is present in the serum. Acetylcholine lacks therapeutic importance or it cannot be used as drug for these reasons. So the first one is acetylcholine is rapidly hydrolyzed by cholinesterases, and the other one is the acetylcholine has diffuse effects because again, acetylcholine acts on both muscarinic and nicotinic receptors. So it has a diffuse effects on different body systems. It is a neurotransmitter in the parasympathetic, somatic, and the autonomic ganglia. So that is one of the reasons why it cannot be used as a drug. So we prefer a drug that is more selective, meaning that we have a preference for a drug that will act as, for example, solely on the muscarinic and the nicotinic receptor and not for both these receptors. So acetylcholine is used locally as an ophthalmic solution. So its indication or its use, clinical use, is limited to being prescribed for intraocular or ophthalmic solution. So in order for a drug to act as a cholinergic agonist, it should be resistant. Another property of the drug is it must be resistant to cholinesterases and not easily metabolized. And of course, this can be observed in other choline esters that we are going to discuss in the next slides. One of the examples of the direct acting agonist is the carbachol. So since acetylcholine is cleaved at the acetyl group, the latter is replaced with an amide group in carbachol. So we have here the chemical structure of carbachol showing the amide group that has replaced the acetyl group of acetylcholine. So basically, its structure is the same with that of the acetylcholine except for this amide group. With the amide group, the carbachol is resistant to hydrolysis by acetylcholine. However, carbachol is also non-selective, just like acetylcholine, meaning that it is able, it still acts on both the muscarinic and nicotinic receptors. case of another direct-acting cholinergic agonist, betanicol, it has the same chemical structure, not to that of carbachol, except in the presence of the ethyl group in the beta position of the molecule. So with this chemical structure, with the addition of the ethyl group, the betanicol is both resistant to hydrolysis by acetylcholinesterase and even selective for muscarinic receptors. Is carbachol non-selective, but betanicol is selective for the muscarinic receptor. So again, this is due to the structural change in the betanicol from carbachol. If you see the structure of betanicol, it has now again an extra ethyl group at the beta position. That is why the name beta plus ethyl plus choline, betanicol. So we have here uh, the ethyl group in the beta position. Kaya tinawag siya na beta-nicol. So this, again, this beta-nicol here, the ethyl group renders this drug to be resistant to acetylcholinesterase as well as to be selective for the muscarinic receptors. So it is also important to note that according to the structural activity relationship of the cholinergic agonist, alpha alkyl substitution, it will increase the nicotinic selectivity, whereas the beta alkyl substitution will increase the muscarinic selectivity. In the case of the betanicol, it has a beta alkyl substitution, increasing its muscarinic selectivity. We have here a summary of the directly acting cholinergic agonist or the cholinesters. So we'll start with acetylcholine. So acetylcholine has an ester moiety. It can be easily hydrolyzed by cholinesterases. It is not suitable to be used as a drug because it is easily metabolized and it has a diffuse effect. It is not selective on both. It acts on both muscarinic and nicotinic receptors. In the case of carbachol, it has an amide moiety. It is not hydrolyzed by the cholinesterases. And just like acetylcholine, it is also not selective for the muscarinic and the nicotinic receptors. For the third one is the betanicol. It has an amide moiety and an ethyl group at beta position. It is not hydrolyzed by cholinesterases. Because of its ethyl group, it is also selective for muscarinic receptors. We have here pilocarpine. So pilocarpine is an alkaloid. It is a plant alkaloid that is an example of a direct-acting cholinergic agonist. It is derived from the plant Pilocarpus jaborandi, and in terms of its chemical structure, it has the presence of the imidazole ring in its chemical structure, as shown in this diagram. So it has no structural relationship with acetylcholine, but it was naturally found to be muscarinic. So it can be used for emergency treatment of glaucoma.